out of the mixer. So like with your audio interface, you get two different channels. You get your mic recorded, so you can like do post on each file.
Right.
Whereas with mine, it's all one file. It comes out like I have to make sure that you sound good coming in before anything. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm learning right now how to, because I need to get a new mixer with 4 channels, so I can have 2 other microphones.
Yeah.
And
a 4-channel audio interface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and getting into like the whole splitting those channels up and have like it's called an I-16. Yeah. And I'm just like, I need 16 channels, and I guess I do if that's 4 inputs, and then I don't know. It's just a lot. It's fucking a lot. Oh man, and I don't know. I feel like that's the struggle with doing I look at my website and I scratch my head at what I can do. My editing skills on it are so minimal, and I'm changing a lot up and putting and adding a lot to it. And I have my sister helping me, and I have people helping me in different areas where I'm not good, but it's difficult to try to just take in all that information when it comes to learning stuff and then applying it and then having the time to learn it, and it's just a lot. It's a lot. What's up, man? How you feeling after the last episode we did? How are you feeling?
So I felt like with the cutting edge
episode one, which was done on your podcast channel,
Trent Knox.
Version 2 is also going to be on yours. We just happen to be doing it on my page, and I'm going to be doing it as well. But it'll
probably be like distributed about the same time, hopefully.
Yeah, we can absolutely
synchronize that up.
Yeah.
So since the last episode, obviously this is a different setting. This is over at Bryan's place. Since the last episode, a lot has like changed with my show. But let's talk about that episode. I felt like we talked about a lot, but at the end, I felt like I don't know how to like explain it other than I think people expect more. And that's what I came to out of me, for sure.
Okay.
Because I started talking to like my family and other folks that are on podcast groups and different things. And the expectations for a podcast are extremely high. Like,
in what way?
In the way that in order to be put into in a group that you can be like shared in, you have to either be successful or be politically correct. Like that's the way it is.
Say it again, one more time.
You either have to be successful, like you have to have a cult following because you either use profanity or you talk about controversial subjects, or you have to be politically correct
in order to be successful.
If you're unsuccessful, if you're building your platform, like
in terms of like social
to
media,
grow really fast.
Right.
If you're just looking to make a podcast on the side, you can pretty much do whatever you want as long as it doesn't affect like your job opportunities, right? Or people aren't looking at your stuff. So it's a catch-22, but it's the thing it's the world we live in right now. So with my show, I think that I'm going to be focusing more on family-friendly content. You know what I mean? Doing my best not to use profanity and it's really difficult because I still want to talk about things like Dan Bilzerian and the fact that people call him misogynist, right? Mm-hmm. But he's an excellent businessman. He's built 5 different businesses that are extremely successful. He's a billionaire. You know what I mean?
Right.
So obviously he comes from money. Mm-hmm. His father was like a lawyer or something like that, or in something like that. And so he inherited some money, but his father was arrested and had 10 jets. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like he built his fame, his notoriety on being being a man's man. Okay. And that's just there's a thin line, right? These days. I don't know what to do about that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You can't be toxic masculine. You can't be toxically masculine. Like there's 2 different versions of that.
Okay, I feel we're going down two paths, so let me try to straighten this path out. Straighten it out a little bit. In the realm of trying to change your content to adhere to, you said you're going to be more family friendly. Do you feel that is an aspect of Trent? Like, is there a family friendly version of Trent that is able to put out content like that? Do you think
that question scares me? So it's a scary question.
Let me elaborate on it a little bit, though. The reason I ask is, you mentioned, if you're not trying to get to the top of the heap right away, then it's okay to kind of keep your stuff semi-fringe, maybe a little bit, as long as work's not getting involved. And I got out of an ethics class recently, and that was something that we covered, actually. Where is the line in terms of a place of employment going into their employers' personal lives, whether it be through social media and how the mediums are kind of blending within one another.
Right.
A lot of people are turning to, let's be real, LinkedIn and Glassdoor, all those are forms of social media. So they're just being now blended with the Facebooks, the Twitters, the Instagrams, and it's becoming almost seamless to a degree, like which is which. If you are a public figure, that crossover into the 9 to 5, the normal job, there's not much of a comparison there. So I think having the 9 to 5, you're allowed to be a little bit more free in your thoughts, and you're not criticized as much because it probably isn't reaching to the masses. Granted, you don't go viral or something. But to the same time, you want to, I think, conduct yourself in a way that's a representation of how you would be at your 9 to 5 and how you are outside of that. I wonder sometimes, hey, I say some shit. Maybe I should watch what I say and direct things a little bit differently. But in all honesty, I would, this isn't discussion I wouldn't have outside of a setting that wasn't appropriate. That at work, I'm not having these types of discussions, but there's a disconnect, and I've tried to keep the line disconnected as much as I can and not blend the two, because I know that it can be kind of touchy. But again, what are you willing to kind of risk when doing that? So are you trying to take this family friendly turn because you think it's going to be appealing to potential job opportunities or to potential clients that maybe you're going to work with? Or are you taking this because you feel that this is a aspect of Trent that needs to be broadcast?
I think it's the latter.
Okay.
Because I don't have a choice.
Part 2.
I don't have a choice. I feel like, for instance, with what just happened with my podcast distribution platform being acquired by Spotify.
Okay. Which was Anchor, right?
Yeah. Okay. I didn't get a choice. It wasn't like they asked everybody who's been creating content for their platform, hey, do you mind if we sell to this bigger company that are directly connected with established brands? They didn't ask that. There was no poll. It's not an employee owned company, or you know what I mean. It's a market based company that's traded on the stock market.
Right.
Well, I guess not.
You can't do that though. That's that's politics at its finest too, because you can't, we don't, obviously not every vote goes towards whatever. You're going to get too much discussion around it, and then you're going to get detractors, and then people are going to start highlighting why it might be a bad business move. And that's why you never hear about things before potential mergers or, there's always, a certain level of management has non-disclosure forms where they have to, just like if you were to be, non-disclosures are non-disclosures across the board. They're legal documents. You're not allowed to say things. You're not allowed to, not to say that it's such a weird concept.
But at the same time, what you're talking about,
I know it's not the same. I get it.
No, it's that what I just said could be clipped out of context and memed to make it seem like I feel negative about this acquisition, which I don't. I think it's a great opportunity. It means more data and more analytics. All these opportunities that are coming because there are really strong podcasts that are coming in from Gimlet, strong podcasts that are coming from Anchor. We have, the Joe Budden podcast is exclusively on Spotify. So there are a lot of people who are interested in that in Spotify as a distribution of audio platform.
Right.
But at the same time, I want my podcast to be open source so that you don't have to run into this issue where like you all the music you like to listen to, Drake, Taylor Swift, they all go first on Apple. Right now, my podcast is in that mix, of content you can get on iTunes or Apple Music.
Mm-hmm.
When the platform that I use goes to Spotify, it becomes an interesting thing. What's going to happen with distribution? No, they're not saying anything at this point in time. So I'm with it. We'll see how it goes. They're saying that it'll stay the same. It's just an acquisition. Like they're just going to use resources.
Is your goal to try to get like as many views on your podcast? Are you trying to create like a niche market for yourself for your podcast? What's your goal? What are you trying to do? Exactly?
So it's kind of changing, right? So I was going to say,
our type of
there's two different ways I wanted to like start with what I had to say is like technology kind of has become it's my internet went down over the past week and I had no ability to do anything. Like I tried to do podcasts. I couldn't, I couldn't upload, couldn't do anything. Right. It felt like my dog had died. Like if I equated it to anything like bad in my life, because I wasn't able to do all the things you need to do on a desktop. Right. I could get on my phone. I could kind of send messages. I live in a kind of a rural area, so T-Mobile is kind of spotty. You know what I mean? So and we have like one of those boosters. So like my signal's good if I have internet, but if I don't, I'm waiting on messages. I may not get them. Like there's a lot of things that go on in that. So I felt like, oh my God, here's my life is like, I'm barely getting any data. Like now my bandwidth is like this.
That's when you go outside.
Small, you know what I mean?
That's when you go outside and run.
Guess what I did? I walked and ran.
Good.
I called my mom and got angry that the internet wasn't working.
Oh, no,
you know what I mean?
No, they got you, Trent. They got you.
Yeah. I mean,
they got you. The Matrix has you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I grew up in this. I'm, since dial-up, since the first gateway, since the first Apple computer that we had in the house. I grew up on computers. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to, vaccinations. I neglect it. All of this.
I neglect it I don't know why. I neglect getting on and getting connected more than I already am. Mm-hmm. Did you listen to the Jack Dorsey Rogan episode? He's got me hook, line, and sinker on Twitter, dude. I'm trying to be so active on Twitter. My only issue with that is that I feel like I'm gridlocked in that high percentage of people that don't have followers, that don't engage on Twitter enough. Mm-hmm. I have friends of mine that engage on Twitter like crazy, and their likes and their shares and their follows don't break 100. But to me, they're hustling so hard to just get these 50 genuine likes too, not botted up. Mm-hmm. We have experience with trying to go away, go into the algorithm route and trying to, get into markets and get into get distributed into people's streams because of hashtags. Like personally, I don't think the hashtag thing works, but it's, it's there, I guess, for a reason. But seeing all that and the work that goes into it, I sit back and I go, man, this really is like a full-time, if you want to be immersed into that type of like culture, the Instagram culture, the more so Instagram, I guess. But if you really want to have a social media presence and have a platform on social media, it is a full-time job. It's a full-time every second of the day. And trying to do a podcast, it's almost ironic in a way, but I dread being on it. But Twitter, I understand the necessity for it. And listening to the Jack Dorsey podcast really got me like kicking myself in my ass that I didn't get on Twitter a lot sooner. And I'm trying to utilize it to my fullest extent right now. I'm on it every day. I try to get at least 1 or 2 tweets out, say something witty, talk some shit. But I'm reluctant to like take the dive in on like all the outlets you're doing. That's why this person I'm talking to, this company I'm talking with, is like interesting to me because eliminates so much work I have to do in terms of like being in touch with all these platforms. You know, it's gripping how crucial the Internet of Things is, and it's crippling in a way too.
So
did I say it's crippling and it's crippling, or
no?
It's gripping.
You said something. Yeah, you said something else.
Like I said that.
And I was just listening.
Okay.
And what I got from that is that last night I went to the South by Southwest meetup again. I didn't know, like, it was a meetup, so I figured it was a networking event. I went again, and I don't even, this is where, like, what's family friendly, really? What does that mean? Like, can you say something negative about?
Did you ever answer the question if you're trying to highlight the family friendly trend, or are you really just going?
I'm trying to highlight it. I want to let people know that I can do family friendly. But see, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm gonna go be, you know, like, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm just gonna go along with everybody's choices. But like, I'm making a choice. At this time, do I drink Pepsi, or this time do I drink Coke? Like, you know what I mean? And if I can't get club soda at the Taco Bell, where can I get club soda at?
Okay. I see that you want to let people know that you can be family friendly for the sake of becoming a social media personality, correct? Or for the sake of becoming more engaging on social media, getting more eyes on you?
I am generally family friendly. Like, I am generally not a big talker. Just to hang out, watch, you know, maybe Twitch.
But what about that sells? What about that is going to scream, hey?
So, like, that's the conversation that, like, I have with my mother, is that she has this expectation that everybody who does something for a reason. And I don't think that's true. I don't think that everybody who's successful does it for a reason. I think a lot of people just throw things on the wall and see what sticks. You know what I mean? So, like, she's like, oh, you don't have any famous people on the podcast. And I haven't only heard this from her. You know, at the South by Southwest meeting, they were like, oh, who do you know who's been on your podcast? Well, I think I know people, my friends, the people that I network with that know something. Oh, but who do you know means, have you had Aubrey Marcus on your podcast? Have you had Joe Rogan on your podcast? Have you had anybody in the top 50 of podcasts on your podcast? Because then it's in the conversation. And I immediately, like, I'm frustrated with this other person on the other side. It's because they're going to marginalize me and say, you're not worth anything because no one wants to talk to you. So, okay. Then the second thing is that I'm not, you know, catering to brands. Or I'm not going to I don't know what's a good company for men's products, Gillette, right? And being like, Gillette, hey, oh my gosh, what a brand to pick at this time. But
I know.
But you know, going to them and being like, hey, I have this podcast, it reaches this demographic. But it doesn't, and their direction has now gone boom the other direction that I even, like, I would be alt-right to Gillette right now. It's like it's,
wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know.
I
don't even know what to do in this. What is family friendly?
Let's talk. Okay, well, that's irrelevant to this discussion, I believe. What I think
is family friendly because you go Coca-Cola all day? Or is it family friendly because you go Pepsi all day?
Why do you feel you got that response at the South by meetup?
I think I got that response because...
And who is giving you this response?
I got this response because the origin of South by Southwest was a bunch of people coming together to try and get something done.
Who was at this meetup, and what made you want to
go? That's the problem. I never knew who was going to be there.
Who was there? Who did you meet?
I met people from Interactive.
Like notoriety.
Who was there that knew? I mean, there were people who were doing things,
like,
but there was no A-list star. You know what I mean?
It doesn't matter.
But it does whenever you go back to who have you interviewed.
Well, that's my point. Who is asking you who you interviewed? Who are these people, and where were they coming from to where they thought they could ask you who you've interviewed?
It's a good point. But it's
like,
also,
what did they do? Did you
see? I don't like that confrontation.
But what did you take away from them? It's important. You want to pay attention.
Well,
to that
South
kind
by
of stuff.
Southwest was definitely saying, "What have you done? Who are you?"
If somebody if somebody at a meetup is questioning me, I want to go, well, why are you questioning me? Are you doing better than I am? And what is the why? If you are, okay, what is it that I'm not? What do you think you can teach me? What do you think I need?
Right.
Like, who's questioning me and why am I being questioned?
I think that people generally question people just because they question people.
But there's relevance to that though. Like, there's so I'm getting a message that you kind of feel defeated from going to this meetup yesterday. Why do you? If they were asking me those questions, I'd be like, "Who you talk to, bitch? Who have you fucking tried to get on the fucking pod? You know, you're trying. Like that's another thing too.
So it's like you can't have your cake and eat it too. So they're like, hey, great job, you're doing a podcast. Woo woo. Not gonna listen to it, but who have you listened? Who?
That's just it. And so
keep going, buddy. But I'm not gonna,
So that's when you shake shit up. That's when you break shit up. That's when you get in there and go, okay, who have you interviewed?
Yeah, but I mean, like, okay, so when
they don't know what work you put in.
There's only
if there's anybody as grinding and trying to get things accomplished.
We don't have Neuralink at this time, so we can't like bandwidth spread to all these people because you want to just get to the top 10 that you can as fast as you can.
That's what's frustrating about it.
You know what I mean?
That there's a limited, like, I guess, interest that people have, or a limited. Okay, how much time are you worth right now? Like, where is this from?
So that's what the issue I'm running with South by is they think I'm negative, like I have a negative value. You know what I mean? They won't let me pitch a panel.
Can you give me specifics to like details?
Yeah, I'm going into it.
Oh wait, okay, real quick. Is this regarding you being on the podcast panel?
Yeah.
Okay, can I be honest with you though?
No.
Okay,
hold on.
No?
So
I can't be honest with you.
But I need to describe these things before it's like
you're right, details.
So I can be honest. So like what I was talking about before was that it was the South by South was established by a bunch of volunteers working to build something. There was no organization to it. Right. Then it gets bought by a huge production company. They utilize the slave labor still, but they direct it in a different way because now they have funds. They can put it in and sell things, right? Mm-hmm. Unfortunately. So Next thing is that there's no opportunity. The people keep working for free. They become panel pickers. They're working for free. They're doing podcasts for free, right? Mm-hmm. So here's where my frustration is. I'll do it for free. Why am I not getting recognized? Panel picker, nothing. Okay? And that was on Austin Live and Local as a platform. Press.
So real quick, you approached the panel.
I submitted my panel.
You wanted an Austin Live and Local panel.
A meetup.
Okay.
So where people came in and spoke locally about what they're doing. Like unfortunately, I'm starting to push this thing back to like, if you haven't been here for 10 years, then we have to have a conversation about that because what have you really influenced on the city? Not the people, but the city.
Right.
You've done 10 years of work in the city, then you should be a voice in the city, right? That's what people have been saying. Like, that's this new conversation. It's like, are you local? Well, you've been here for 10 years? Cool. Then you're local. You can be a part of the conversation. Then there's that aspect. So I wanted to do that. Meetup got denied. Okay.
You wanted to plan a meetup around Austin Live and Local?
I already planned it. Already pitched. Everything was there.
Right.
It was literally accept it or don't accept it.
But what were you positioning?
Social media marketing. Branding yourself, personal branding in gaming, and specifically, so building your website, building all of these things.
South by Southwest to do a panel about creating all that for it. And
through panel picker,
right? Yeah, and you were panel picker denied it.
Whoever's in charge, I don't know. Okay, I don't know how that works. That's where I'm seeing things behind the curtain. I haven't.
If I can be honest,
once I get behind the curtain,
what is it? I mean, but what's like? They're a big company, Trent, and they're a company that deals with a lot of money, and I mean, they want to fill spots, I'm sure, with people that are going to bring money, and not that you don't have anything that's worth of value. Yeah. It just hasn't been highlighted yet, or maybe it's not in front of the right people or in front of the right eyes. That's why I'm asking, like, is your goal just to like get on a panel and say that you did something, or is your goal to actually like make a difference and change things, and then a result of that is being on a panel one day?
So
like, is the idea of being on a panel what's enticing, or is it that you really do want to go out there and make a change.
I want to answer these questions, but I also need to finish these things so I can like get
go on. I apologize.
So I get denied from press,
right?
You know, I get I like a local outlet, because there's not many out there. Like I feel like I'm probably 6, maybe even 5 as far as like local press outlets that are covering things and active. I mean, there are a few publications that take social media second, like Statesman and Duke 512. Like they're kind of big, right? But then other than that, there's very little.
Probably the standard.
Yeah, I mean, but Chronicle is on sponsorship, so you can't have like there's like 2 literally companies that aren't gonna be like, you know, there's not, what's the word for like when there's like people made fake stories, like it's not fake news, but it's like an agenda. Like Austin Chronicle wants to paint a good picture because they're a sponsor of the event, so they're not gonna say negative things about this event.
No, I get it. There's not going to have that bias, right?
Exactly.
Or they're going to have the bias.
Journalistic bias, right?
Right.
So there's not a lot of integrity in it.
Yeah. Their news or whatever they report is going to be leaning one way or another, much like a lot of media is. Let's be real.
So like I don't get the press. Okay, cool. Then I find this is like, another thing that I've been dealing with is that I find out about things late, like other opportunities. It's not like they're telling you. It's not advertised.
Right.
So it's there, but they're not like, it's not like if you don't get this, then do this. And if you don't do this, you do this.
Right.
And if that doesn't work, well, then you got to do this. Right. So I got stuck in this area where I could be a content creator. And I applied to be a content creator for South by Southwest. I got denied for that as well. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know what the numbers, the analytics. So this kind of answers back to the question of like, what is my value? Is it the number or because numbers are not that important. It's about who's talking about what, right? It's about the conversation. Because the numbers could show that everybody's involved. Is the conversation popular? Maybe not.
But everybody has conversations about everything, though. So that, in theory, means everybody's got to be popular to a degree. No, that's not the case. Certain things are going to make it through the filter, and certain things aren't.
But conversations.
Certain conversations are going to make it through the filter, and certain conversations aren't. 18 people can talk about what Rogan and Musk talked about, but only people want to listen to Rogan and Musk. Like, you know, you and me can talk about that exact same shit, and it's not going to be as interesting, as fun, or as entertaining, regardless of how you and me think it's going to be. What matters, though, I think, is first, and this is what I'm kind of picking up on, is you got to kind of put yourself in a position to be vulnerable, but at the same time, test your boundaries. And that's why I asked if you're like, really, like, why are you going to be family friendly if that's not what you want to make? You are a content creator first and foremost.
It's not what I want to make, though.
I know, but let me phrase this up. As I was going back to, you know, you not having like a worth, like I believe you have a worth. If I was to compare you to other people I've met in Austin that are in the same line of work as us in the same industry, you are probably one of the most productive people I've met. The productivity is there, and it's not something that you're afraid of or that you shy away from. It's something that I think, if anything, you're constantly looking for. But there's just, I mean, I don't know if it's your perspective about it. Like you are a content creator. You need to just make content. Like I think you're looking for someone to, and this is just my perspective, like you're going to South by, like, hey, let me be on a panel and do this because I've done these things, or let me just create content. Like, do those things. You just have to do them consistently enough, and then make sure that you do have that niche and that following, and then the recognition and shit is going to come. Unfortunately, that's the, I think, recipe.
I get that, but it's also like, it's like if you, it's like the topic,
the aiming fire.
The conversation that Jack Dorsey was having was like, all these platforms are doing this like verification, like validation platform.
Right.
you don't get one, if you're not recognized on one, how likely is it you're going to get recognized on another one?
So that's what's kind of opening my eyes to all this. Is it validated a couple of thoughts for me. The first one was
pause there. See, because that some people are going to look at there and then be like, "You're talking about thoughts."
What do you mean?
The broken English that we've got going on.
Oh no, I had some ideas, and the conversation Dorsey and Rogan had validated some of my ideas, or some of my thoughts on a couple different topics. The first being how to break out in this thing. Like, I dread being on social media, and unless like the people that are public figures and personalities now,
right,
that is their job to a degree. So that's where their time is allocated. The average person doesn't need to spend all day on Instagram or Twitter to be recognized through those channels. They need to spend the time in their craft.
Yeah.
And then when the opportunity to like market or advertise through Instagram or network with your customers through Instagram is there, then you go that route. Not just, oh, hey, let me jump on Instagram and become a hot topic because I'm sharing some hashtags or I'm relevant, having a relevant discussion that other big people are talking about. Like, that's not, you're mimicking it. I feel that way.
I agree.
I feel that way with what I do because I don't really have like a thing that this makes this thing go off in any particular niche or makes people talk about it. But that's what I've struggled with is I can't stop wanting to sit down and have discussions and talk about things with people to where the point, like, I don't care about pushing it in front of people's faces and seeing if people are interested in it. Like, I'm more so in like what connections I can make through the conversation piece and who I can discuss with so I can meet new people and have new discussions.
I agree.
And like, let's be real. That's probably not going to that's not like a recipe for success in my eyes, but it's allowed me to be like stress free in terms of the social media piece now, because there's not a void I'm trying to fill by like getting those likes and getting those, like the Twitter thing. It made me realize that if I want to really be relevant, I need to have a public voice. Twitter is that voice. It's that voice for fucking everybody. It's a matter of getting like lost in that static of everybody. But that's one thing that I am going to do towards that, because I do believe that in order for me to have connections and meet people, I have to have like that public opinion, and that I have to have that public voice that people can like go back and at least look at and go, oh, hey, he has been on Twitter for a while talking a bunch of shit. Or, hey, he has been on Twitter. You, on the other hand,
I've been on Twitter for a long
fucking
time.
Forever.
And never even used it.
But imagine if it's been like 5 years of family-friendly content.
Yeah.
Trent, yeah.
I know.
And that's where it comes back to like that. Do you want to really do family-friendly entertainment, or are you just trying to get on like whatever narrow wave you can find to where boom, you blast off real quick, rather than like doing that little build-up? Because let's be real, man. You're not going to do family-friendly. I don't think Trent should do family-friendly entertainment. The cutting, are you going to do like this? Like, I enjoy this style of Trent. I think if a lot of people knew this Trent and this like real, like, man, it is kind of a fucking shitty world out there, and there's all these different narratives and things and scenes at play, and I got to navigate through them and like try to make it, and then like your perspective is a very interesting one. And at the same time, you're doing something I think a lot of people strive to do. You want to be that quick connected fucking dude that's on Twitter, and you want to be like of this millennium. I'm talking to a guy right now that's on like a weird level too, that thinks I'll tell you, I'll talk about it off of a recording.
So I got two things from what you were talking about.
Yeah.
And it has to do with, like, I've been listening to audiobooks. So I listened to Jocko's audiobook, his new one, Extreme Ownership, right?
Yeah. How'd you like it?
It was, there's a lot going on. I think that it reminds me of a lot of my childhood, but I didn't have a good role model as far as like the way that it should be executed. So I seem to be playing the blame game in a lot of things. Even when I was at the South by Southwest, why is everybody doing this to me? Why me? Why me? Instead of saying, this is where I'm making mistakes and this is where I need to correct them. The other thing I was thinking was, having those is like having a business card. If you don't have them, people don't even know how to contact you.
If you don't have what?
If they're only on Instagram, they want to know your Instagram handle. They're doing business on Instagram. That's it. They're signed contract, signed, sealed, and delivered on Instagram.
What are you doing? what would be a reason for you to sign a contract over Instagram?
Just straight visual. I don't know where that is because Twitter, they like Jack was talking about, or Jack?
Yeah, Dorsey. Yeah.
So like he was saying that they don't have the mechanisms, they don't have the features built in for them to create it where you could follow a hashtag, and then you could basically see the conversation of what's going on, similar to Reddit features and Instagram features. They haven't implemented it yet. Probably going to implement it now, but there's all this backlash from him leaking secrets and going off, you know what I mean, and talking about insider business.
What did he leak?
Him just talking was a backlash on Reddit and these other channels where that supposedly the stockholders and the people in
same thing with Musk. It's stupid.
Exactly.
But okay, slightly irrelevant to anything. But I mean,
acquisitions. You know what I mean? So like, is the brand gonna go with? Does a brand that's up and coming want to go with somebody, you know, who is a snitch? I mean, you know what I mean?
Not a snitch.
Leak? A whistleblower?
He was okay. No.
That's what they're looking at it like, though. He's leaking their internal information, even though he's like the guy.
He's doing it. I mean, people need to do that, though.
But people then Elon had to step down. Like, so
he didn't step down from anything that was more of like.
It was like a show of force. It was a show of, you know, it was like a show of, but he's still there doing the same thing.
It's still his company. Yeah. It's still his fucking company. He just was decided to, hey, bro.
Let's just, for the people that think this label
probably
stuff.
Shouldn't be smoking pot. I get the fuck over it. But a different conversation there as well. So what did you take from the
extreme ownership?
Just both. Like both aspects. Like, yeah, it's the calling card for people.
If anything goes wrong, it's my fault.
Yeah, I mean, same with me.
At this point in time, I mean, but at the same time, I think that the argument that we had after DreamHack was, I was like, this is my fault. I couldn't get everybody to go, but I wasn't thinking about it in the way that I do now, where it's like, what could I have done to have made the situation better? What I was thinking that, but I wasn't thinking about it in the way that I am now. Like, I wasn't thinking about, well, I was just grabbing, you know, and I may have been under communicating, but then Gary Vee says don't overthink things. So if you're under communicating, overthinking, like, where's this balance? And then when you start talking to someone who believes they have the balance and find out that their balance is like manipulating people so that they support their unhealthy lifestyle, I was doing that. I gotta accept the fact that other people were doing it, yeah, but I was doing that. And then this past 2 months have been me trying to correct the past since like forever. I mean, I haven't, like, now being the best person that I can be. And maybe that's why I want to be family friendly, is because the drugs, the alcohol,
took its toll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, when you see the constant nature of certain things, and I still get scared every once in a while because I talk to people and they're not like forthright. Not everybody's like, this is what's going on. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, for instance, the girl who cut my hair, it seemed like something strange was going on, alluring.
I mean, if you're and I like this about you, and there's a lot of people that I think are very deep, but you're deep, man. Like, you're very inquisitive in a way, but you're not. Your time with people is limited. Like, your girl cutting your hair, who gives a fuck, dude? Don't give a shit about what she's got going on. Just have a conversation with her. Be in the moment. Talk about something. What's her discussion like?
But
that's what's good. Like,
here's the thing that toxic masculinity. I can't even have the conversation
yes,
that I really want to have.
No, you're in your head about that.
No,
you're in
it's
your
not,
head because you're trying
because
to
if I want to get
too
signed by
cushioned.
Disney, if I want to get signed by Nickelodeon,
fuck Nickelodeon.
If I want to write, then I can't. I just can't.
Yeah, you can, dude.
No, I can't. I can say it in a way like
you're living.
You know, a Dan Bilzerian lifestyle. You're living super awesome,
bubble, man. Bro. This is a bubble.
Awesome.
This is the equivalent of that Rugrats episode where
the reason why I can't is because
made them bubble football.
The reason why I can't is because the leash gets tighter.
No, you're being way ridiculous about
I'm
this.
not being that way. My family is supporting my lifestyle. Is supporting, you know, paying for car insurance, paying for these things, and if I say the wrong thing, I mean,
okay,
you know what I mean?
Let me ask you a question and be honest, please.
Family friendly.
So
there's two different directions.
Let me be honest. I need you to be honest with me, and I'm going to ask you a very real question. Mm-hmm. Do you feel inclined to be family friendly because your family is supporting you in your endeavors right now? Be honest.
I think
are they not maybe happy with what you're doing and they're like, oh, you need to be more family friendly. So to appease them, you're going to go another angle just so they don't one day tell you, hey, you're cut off.
I need to have this conversation. I don't know.
I need to have. You need to have a conversation with yourself, not with them. Don't ask them that.
I gotta talk it out.
I mean, talk it out with them.
I got to talk it out with a human being. That's what I mean.
Oh, okay, cool. Let's talk.
And that's what I'm
Cutting
saying.
edge, part 2. Here we
that's
go.
what I'm saying. It's like
this is content.
This relates to a lot of people.
You should maybe do a.
Because Gary Vee talks about this as well. You know, his family. He comes from a family fortune. I mean, the business that Gary Vee is in was the wine business. He didn't take any money from it afterward, but
it was his dad's business.
He established a business that was pre-existing.
Yeah, he reinvented it essentially over the internet.
He's not denying that he reinvented a pre-existing business.
Right.
However, my family doesn't have that. I mean, my grandfather had a business, but it wasn't a business that was really taken seriously. It was a side project.
I'm getting a phone call from Tuscaloosa, Alabama right now.
Oh. And you know, the whole farming business, mom and pop stuff doesn't exist. I mean,
it doesn't necessarily.
It exists but the thing is like for him, and this is the battle that I think my whole family has against him, is that it was an ego thing. He's got to be better.
Gary Vee?
No, not Gary Vee. My grandfather.
Oh, okay.
My grandfather it was his ego that made him want to do this business because he's a big fish in a small pond, right? Of agriculture, farming, or whatever, right? And you know, that's the way it is out in the country, right? You get into the city and you want to start playing the farming game.
It's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's like, I don't know how to explain this, but I was just watching a video with Elon Musk and his brother Kimball Musk. Okay. I feel like me and my brother and I are like parallels. Like I'm more like Elon. He's more like Kimball. Okay. It's weird.
Did you just compare yourself to Elon Musk in any way?
No, I feel like I'm more like.
Okay. In that relationship?
In the relationship.
But
I don't feel like I'm Elon Musk by any means. I
was just joking with you.
Any way to speak about the physics of what he knows. Like I gotta another thing that I've learned is that you gotta talk it out. Like literally to the point at which you gotta beat a dead horse. Because people don't know. Like even Joe Rogan does this like at times where he'll just like talk a subject to death because he may have talked about it that episode before, but it's like there's a brand new audience. They know nothing about what he's talking about.
Joe Rogan bingo is like
Joe Rogan bingo.
What subjects is he going to bring up in this episode? Apes, fucking DMT. It's
gotcha.
Funny. But back to your point. So, what do you feel like? Do you feel you're gonna like pay off a debt, or like you owe your family a certain amount of something?
I just want to get out of I want to get out of this lifestyle. It's not. It's
you're like on the other side of the fence. You're on the other side of the fence. You see all the lights, but you're just kind of chilling. You want to get over there.
I can see that there are like 12 fences, and one of these fences is I'm able to financially support myself on all, or not even everything, but this one thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I don't know what to pick, because you have student loans, you have, that's not an issue. I don't know why
I get,
said
yeah,
that,
yeah,
but
yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
that, like, you have these different subjects, and which one you start putting pennies in first. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Towards this.
And if you spend,
thing.
I struggle with that. If you spend, again, which is,
but you've had to be financially on your own for quite some time.
I mean, I look at that two ways. One, yes, and if anything, it's just kind of taught me to be, I guess, mindful of. I don't know, not really, because it's not like I've saved a bunch, or I try to be mindful. It's obviously kind of taught me how to work, and I think I have an idea of what I want to spend like most of my adult life doing and working towards. But if anything, I also look at it from like a perspective of, if I had the opportunity to be in a position where I was being supported, I would take advantage of it, not in a malicious way or like take advantage of the people. But I mean, if you can get through college on your parents' money, or if you can have support in a business or something like that along, while you're in your 20s or while you're still getting the hang of life, then I would take that opportunity.
Unfortunately,
taking
the opportunity doesn't mean I get everything I want.
Right, and it never should. That's just it. Like, you kind of have to balance. That's where it becomes almost crucial on your part to like show that, like, hey, even though you are supporting me, I'm at least following my dreams. I think there's somebody you and me know both that I think is in that position and is kind of lucky to be in that position. Is
I think there's several people, but my thing is that if I want, it shouldn't be at a detriment to my happiness.
No, and that's where I'm like, hey, but that's you though. That's you letting it be.
It's me
a detriment.
It's not everyone. It's me. It's me. Is then like, if I hit a wall with South by because I'm not financially paying for followers, because I can't do that. Because if I did that, then I wouldn't be earning enough money to start paying those bills. Right. So, and as I'm driving home, I'm thinking like about girlfriends. I'm thinking about, what does it cost to maintain like a lifestyle? Is it politically correct to say that you're paying for, is it politically correct to pay for a woman's lifestyle these days? I'm thinking about all of these things.
Pay for a woman's lifestyle.
So like, the irony is so great in that I have a conversation with my mom about these girls that are around Daniel Bilzerian, and that they're making their money basically off just hanging around with this guy, right? So what is their worth? And her opinion on it is not that savory. Okay, she has very choice words for those to say to relate anything.
Like what?
To you.
What does she call them? Sluts?
I'm not going to say it because I'm family friendly.
You're family friendly, sir. I am not family friendly.
In the affirmative.
She probably called them a bunch of sluts. Your mom's right. What do you think they're doing?
But at the same time, that was the tradition of women to be dependent on men prior to probably this century.
But listen.
Or this decade, I'm sorry.
Can we... no, sir. The entire 60s was dedicated, 50s and 60s was dedicated.
By and large, no.
Sir, yes. Are you kidding me?
No way. Men were still bringing back all the paychecks from the war.
Listen,
I'm talking about absolutes, not it's kind of absolutes. Men were running the industry, probably 9 to 1.
Yes, but
now it's more women.
I would say 80s, 70s or 80s, not the last decade. We're in 2019 now, not since 19. I would say
that's their argument. Their argument that women haven't been in power positions, making enough money to be breadwinners.
We'll parking lot that conversation. Because we can't go down rabbit holes. We'll parking lot that conversation. So the discussion of the
I'm trying to make this point.
Is your mom was saying that they were sluts.
Savory,
but that's not you've got to stop looking at things through Dan Bilzerian's lifestyle. So you're looking at.
I'm
these
just making a point that because I was in the position, he may be in a way different position where he can do all the drugs and whatever he wants, and have these type of women who are desiring
that
support,
just
support.
Drug.
That's what they're looking for. They're looking for financial support.
With
absolutely no. Some of them have a talent.
That's okay. Hey, but
you know what I mean?
They're at least smart enough to know when they can strike gold.
Who knows? That's it. I think everyone. I don't know. I don't know. So I'm in this position where I meet.
Rule number one: don't talk about Dan Bilzerian with your mom.
Women in power.
I think she's gonna.
But it's more of the fact that I'm not talking about it. I'm not talking about it with her. It's when it's at any point in time. It's at any point in time. I'm talking about it with you. I'm bringing it up.
Right.
She brought it up to me.
What did she bring up?
She said this is not politically correct. It's not. You shouldn't be speaking on this subject. What do you know about this subject? What do you know about being a man? What do you know about being a man?
Oh, so she dug at, okay.
So now I'm like, okay, I'm not a man. So now that's my mother.
So she's seeing the content that you're pushing out?
Well,
and she's seeing.
Because I'm open source. Everything is open. Like if my Facebook's not closed to people being a follower.
Block them. I block certain people.
I'm blocking my mother's.
It's fine. Hey, Mom, I'm an adult. You can't be a part of my life.
I realize that, but at the same point in time, here's the money.
I get.
And this is the type of lifestyle that
I know.
I'm in. It's like you can't do certain things.
It's difficult. Yeah, but you also, Trent, at the same time, you can't.
You have to love your family. That's the number one thing.
You can't sacrifice. I had that look for one of two things. The love your family thing, I'll elaborate on a little bit. But you have to also, and this is going to sound cliche, but you're going to have to love yourself, bro. You have to love yourself a little bit.
Right.
And you have to understand that at certain times, you can't sacrifice your happiness and what you really want to do. Trent, you're a content creator. I think if someone was to say,
I'm not saying I'm sacrificing it. I'm going to do what I want.
But listen, let me frame it.
Yeah.
I think if somebody said, hey, Trent, I want to take a shit for like an hour and I want you to document everything, the hour leading up. I think you, if it was enticing enough and you thought you could make something creative out of it, would do it because that's what you are. You're about capturing something.
Because everything I do is tasteful, whether I don't do it family friendly or not.
Because you're putting your effort and your hard work and your knowledge into that. Yeah. And your passion beyond anything is what's going into that. Now listen, I get the there's a crossover and open source and everybody has access, including your family and the family being involved. But there's got to be a line, at least in my opinion, where you go, you know what? There's the line I'm drawing, and whether that is like allowing what your parents see.
The issue when I draw that line is that where's the return? Like immediate return
for what?
So let's say I cut one thing out, right? I'm like, here's my auto insurance. Who's gonna subsidize that?
Not the auto
immediately.
Insurance. Not the auto insurance.
Immediately.
I'm thinking maybe
clothes even. Who's gonna subsidize that immediately? You know what I mean?
I was thinking more along the lines of those obstacles, those fences, not necessarily cutting out.
I don't have that many obstacles, so it's like I'm just talking about financial.
Creative freedom's one of them.
They don't care really. They're just trying to talk crap. My family is,
but
they're saying that if you don't stop doing this, we're not gonna fund something. So it comes down to finances. It's like Coca-Cola saying, okay, we've got an endorsement deal with you, but if you start supporting that Kaepernick stuff, no.
I get it. But so what do you think, where is that line? Like, where do you feel
for me, I'm doing my best. Like, I'm hanging out with Sebastian. Like, I mean, I hate to bring it to that. Like, I'm hanging out with you. Like,
thanks. Appreciate it, buddy.
I mean, but it is what it is. Like, I still hang out with my friends. Right? Friends don't always go with family. So, I don't know. There are people who are there. There's extremes. And it's not just her. That's the conversation is my father, my brother, you. When you say like it's everybody.
When saying you hanging out with me and Seabass, are they not approving of that?
it's not specific. It's not them. You know what I mean? It's not them. So if you're taking up time or he's taking up time, it's literally like, how do I invest my time? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, they're gonna die. Like, they're older, so they're gonna die sooner. You know what I mean? It's time. Money is time. So where is this all being spent? And I'm literally doing my best. But what was I going with this in specific? There was a specific point to that. Is that you can only
subsidize
do so much.
Somebody.
Mm-hmm. Right. So with like the Kaepernick thing, that was the specific thing that was.
You were saying if they're not going to continue to support you if you don't clean it up a little bit. It's nothing to do with
if
you don't make it friendly, if you don't kind of adhere to what they think is what could be working or what
because your perspective.
Ironically, it's a form of censorship, and the whole Jack Dorsey thing and all that, it was based around censorship. And we were talking about the brother, the mother state, the nanny state, all that.
They won't let you be black. They won't let him be white.
It comes down.
You know what I mean? Like, they won't let him be. If he wants to be Asian, they won't let him be that. You know what I mean?
Why?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't. Like it's in me. Extreme ownership. I guess it's like I've known one thing one way. And it's hard to break out of it. You know what I mean? It's hard to break out of like the white girl that wants to call herself black. It's like, are we ready for that?
I'm lost a little bit, but that's okay.
It's like, are we okay with that? Like comprehending like something is like putting everybody in a category. So you're white. Now you're all the white, so that means you're an alt-right, misogynist, killer, genocide.
I used to say hi to your mom too, and we would go live. I'd go, hey, Trent's mom.
Right. Well, but I'm not talking about. See, now you're isolating it to my mother.
I'm sorry. Well,
it's really anybody versus anyone. My dad's like it's my.
I'm pissed off that she yelled at you, Trent. I'm trying to protect you.
Right. It's not, but it's everyone's. It's just like old woman mentality.
Yeah.
My grandmother yells at me too. Everybody yells at. Everybody has their piece. You know what I mean? You have your piece. I don't know what it is. I mean, all the time.
I don't think I know what it is.
So it's a matter of like. It's a matter of like, what is everybody trying to accomplish in their personal life, and are they getting everything out of it? And how can I help? Like, I can't help all the time.
Mm-mm.
I can't be in 2 places, 3 places. I can't be on all these places at once because nobody wants to help me. Nobody wants to help me. So if I go to South by Southwest, I need this. I need it. I need to be on this platform so I can speak to these people. I need it. I need people to work. You guys came from this idea that people are volunteers. This was established by people who work for free. You want me to work for free? What? It doesn't work. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do at this point. So I'm like, I'll do this one thing for free. But by the time next year comes around, there's no reason to. I've already established everything I needed to do. Why would I want to go and do South by? It's all these young artists that are coming up, Blueface, 21 Savage, all these people. I'm not supposed to talk about hip hop. That's one of the things my mom's like, don't talk about hip hop. It's like, I can't talk about hip hop, so don't talk about urban. Is that what you're really saying?
You're not doing the documentary?
No, I am doing the documentary. Like that's.
I thought last time you said
I can't do it because in my mind I'm not getting everything I want out of it right now. So I got to do bits and pieces. People don't want to respect the fact that I did it on my own. People don't want to respect that I did it with other people. Well, what is it that you respect? What are people going to respect? I help people. I don't help people. I do it on my own. What am I supposed to do? You're supposed to help yourself. Okay? So how do you say masturbate? Like, and not be family? And you know what I mean? Like, how do you say that? So like masturbate, I guess, is the best way. So I can help myself, right? But then you meet the woman that is limiting and it's not my mother, but it's some woman. It's limiting my access to South by Southwest, or my access to ACL, or my access to this, because they're all looking for Dan Bilzerian. And then drop the mic right there. I mean,
rough mic drop. I think you're.
I mean, it's reality. They're looking for a man who can support them, who can help them, whether they have to sacrifice or not, to get to the point that they want to be at. And that was his whole point. His whole point is that, oh, we're just looking like a star's about to be born. He looks at every girl and is like, she's about to be famous, dog. Like,
who says that?
Dan. He doesn't say it in those words particularly, but he's just like, he's a very quiet person. If you watch any of the like vlog footage of him, he's real quiet.
I don't.
But
I think that might be your problem. I think you watch too much vlog.
But I mean, it's a show.
I know, and that's what sucks about it.
It's his show, though. It's 100% funded by him. It's like looking at the craziest thing in the world, but it's not a train wreck. It's working. Like it's just, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger, and the widgets keep coming out, and
the widgets keep coming out. He says,
"You know what I mean? It's a business."
Shit. I'm getting another topo. Everybody can, if anybody's watching, they can.
Oh, so this is probably about halfway through in the podcast, maybe a little bit longer. But I'm Trent Knox. I'm the host of the Trent Knox Show. I started doing this show with Bryan called Austin Live and or actually Live from the ATX on a channel called Austin Live and Local. I talked about this in the previous episode that I did before my computer crashed. But Bryan and I met at his workplace. We hit it off from there. Been good friends since. Started off a conversation. We didn't talk for like 6 months. We got back talking to each other because of this group me chat that I had with a bunch of other friends. And Bryan was going to come in and assist in management. But I didn't know at the time, though, is that I think I was and I want to talk to you about this. I've been thinking about this, is that I feel like I was the biggest hindrance in that. Come on, dog. That's fine. I think I was the biggest hindrance in that not working, because I wanted to, when bringing you on board with Austin Live, I wanted to get out. I think I wanted to remove myself and from in front of the camera. I wanted to function as an owner. I wanted to function like outside of it. I wanted to put that project in the hands of someone else and go another way. And there wasn't enough development in many ways. So I needed a manager. I needed somebody to kind of, tell me like how we're going in the wrong direction at times, because I can't see everything. I need another set of eyes.
I will say that you've taken the like the central focus. You didn't want to be on camera, and I feel like during our time working together, you went to like a personality route. You wanted to be an on-air personality, maybe, or no,
I never did.
No, you didn't. But you didn't. But I mean, I think it's taken that shape now. You definitely want to be heard from like a public. You want to be in the public eye. I think, at least it seems that way. No,
I just don't think people will listen. They just don't listen.
Yeah,
it's like the Elon thing. Like, I tried to tell him about AI.
You open the door right now. I tried to tell him about AI. They didn't want to listen to me.
They didn't want to listen. Didn't want to listen. But I felt like that. It's just like, and I feel bad because I went about it in the wrong way. I just I didn't do equality. Like I needed to do bigger things, and I got like I feel like the experience with Tanner was like a weird rush, or like a out of world situation where I was like experiencing what I did over again, or like where I felt like I did it a little bit different, but it was like I got he was trying to get people involved and then go to the next level too, or go and do more things. And I get it, but
because you were in that position with Austin Live and Local.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. You can't just expect
replace. You can't replace and move on without having it properly
without training,
right,
like all of that. But I needed
different aspects.
I needed to step down, let my ego get down, so that at that time, I don't know if this would work. There's 12 different realities, right? That it could have went. I should have stepped down so that you could have kind of commanded.
You're talking about Austin Live and Local's perspective?
At least kept some structure to it. But my immediate off was like, there was a lot of resistance.
That's one of my favorite things too, like that chunk in I guess
it was like a week or two. What do you mean? Between the transition of working with Chris and Robert and Sebastian.
Oh,
to
that
us.
So from your meeting and my meeting's epic to I guess ultimately like that impromptu meeting we had with Ty C at Brass Tap where we kind of blew up, but like that whole Austin Live and Local experience, amazing. Yeah, you, me, and Ty.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
It was. I loved it, man. I think that's a chunk of time in my life where I look at it a little year and a half and just go, I was proud of it. Our episodes will come up in my feed every now and then, and that's something that I don't know if I would have known what to have done if you went in and were like, yo, I don't know if I really would have known what to have done, because I learned a lot from you. I learned a lot about just the whole production side of things and how like the work that goes into this, and what that entails, and the why behind the why to all of it, and like the aspect of capturing visuals to and like kind of creating a story, and how not the same format and formula doesn't work for every event and every style, and it's just, to me, it was a different idea of production all in all. To go in and I think maybe knowing how Austin Live and Local went, I couldn't have directed that shit. It would have turned out and been something completely different if you went in, if I could have made anything of it.
Right. But you have the skill set. In theory, that's what I had. In theory is like, okay, you have skill set from your working experience. Now, mind you, at that time, you weren't even going to school. You weren't going to school as much as you have now.
Maybe, I don't know.
So, like, I think of a lot of things in the origin of things. You look at them more towards the end game. Like, and that's the way I always think of the things at the origin. Or maybe. I think, like, the highlight, I wouldn't have called that a highlight. When you and I and Tyler were in Brass Tap, and we were it was like a train that we couldn't
not
get
a highlight.
going.
No,
it was like we couldn't get the steam to
that
go.
Was the end point in my mind. The first point was the epic meeting between you and me at Epic Coffee. The end point was that meeting
for Austin Live and Local.
Yeah, for that time frame.
Yeah,
that's where If I highlight that in my life, that's where it starts. Everything in between that year and a half.
Yeah,
or whatever. That's all I meant by that.
Wow.
No, that was to be honest, man, I go back to that conversation all the time, because to me that conversation with you, me, and Ty C, and what has spawned after that madness. Who knows? But
I just remember. See,
that was
the hardest thing that happened was when Becca came out. Was like, why the hell are you yelling at each other out in front of your house? So that was the hardest point of mine. I would say the one with Ty C was like,
well, he was there for that too. He was there for that.
Yeah, I know.
We were all there.
So maybe it is Tyler.
Both those conversations, every time we blew up, dude, every time. There were times before that we blew up at one another. That happens, I think, in any type of friendship. But again, I think you and me are that was maybe our friend aspect. Certain parts.
We blew up with,
certain parts of our friendship.
We were not on the same page with Tanner, though. When we met for the crossover meeting or whatever, you were like, I get it. And I'm like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get what he's getting. I don't get it, Brian. You're like, what? I don't get it. And I was like, two white dudes. No, I'm just kidding. I just
can't say that. It's not PC. there was a couple. I mean, anytime there's certain points throughout that because of those moments, because of the frustrating moments, one of the best times I've ever had.
The irony is there's 3 white dudes in the room.
It's
2 whiter dudes. I think it was during the winter, so it was probably
we're definitely whiter. Yeah. I think you two being from Texas and Idaho or wherever are actually whiter, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm from California, but it's all right.
Well, I'm from California. Sort of.
Anyways.
West Coast. But anyway.
The all those moments, I look back on friendships aside between you, me and Tanner, Ticey, whoever, friendship aspects out of it. I look at those as professional and business aspects. They were, and they were something that helped me understand business and understand leadership, understand social interactions better, team building. Like there's a weird thing that I'm experiencing at the gym right now, which is like this, yesterday in particular, really, really like made it like, I wish I fucking had a camera. I wish that I had like the vision you have all the time for last night, because there was like a full class. It was a wrestling class, and we were drilling and dying. All of us hate, like I've texted like 4 people today and be like, dude, I'm dead. I'm so dead because of the workout we did last night. And it was like a football squad or like a fucking, a team in high school. We were just going at it. And like, I got afterwards, like there was I just felt like this weird connection with everybody, like this weird, like we just accomplished something. I felt that way after DreamHack. And I think that's why you and me kind of disagreed so much that night, is because I felt really accomplished coming out of that. And I know it wasn't maybe your vision and what you had totally encompassed. And I think that's where I feel you do have that value. You do have that worth. You have that, like, that director mentality where you do have to have that touch, and it has to go your way. People just have to give you that opportunity. That's where I think when I hear content creator out of Trent and you trying to do stuff, I come at you with this, are you doing it because this? Are you doing it because that? Because if I had to pick what I think Trent would do, given like a creative freedom, it would be to just capture things and display it how you saw fit. You want to create something. You want to be the director. You want to make sure that it goes how you think it should go, how you envision it in your head, and it needs to be completely translated into a format from angles, from perspectives, from emotions, from ideas. And you kind of have that ability to wrap all that up. I don't know if it's going to take you finding people to do that, but to me, that's where your strong point was. Yeah. And I get why you were upset that day. I get why you were kind of, why we were butting heads. Cause to me, I was like, how the fuck are you negative when we have a positive right now? And I could, how are you fucking thinking this is a positive? It went to shit. Like you're probably thinking that I'm an idiot or whatever. And like Tyler's just sitting there and like, we're going back and forth. And it's like,
because it was, but at the same time everybody didn't accomplish getting an A. So it was like,
but think about it.
Tyler was his thing. So was these guys that I brought in
that way. That's why you see it that way, because you're the teacher and you're like, fuck, my students didn't get an A. But that
I'm responsible because
I think for everybody that was their first test, dude. That was the first time that you had an actual assembled crew. That was the first time that you had a full crew kind of at your disposal, minus whatever Daniel was doing, although he was still under your guys for the most part. And I think that kind of surprised you a little bit. I think you were like, oh shit. Like, but
he didn't deliver.
Again, first class. It was your first time working with everybody the first day. Think about that, Trent. You were thrown. Let's put this into perspective real quick. And I think people, and then if anybody wants to hear about
what performed the worst was Tanner. I mean, he didn't even show up. So it's like,
if people want to know,
skip class.
If people want to know,
so I can do it on my own.
What Trent can do, what Trent Knox is capable of. Trent Knox is capable of taking a team of 11 people, day one of an event shoot where he has a core crew of 4 or 5 people, 6 at most if our 6th person's reliable, 7 when the guy was supposed to show up. But he basically brought on 5 or 6 new people and constructed a team that successfully captured 3 days of footage of one of the biggest gaming events in the country and the biggest gaming event in Texas. He successfully captured that, and we put in a lot of time and effort from like the core going into that. But he was able to take an existing party and blend them in and make a list of events, 3 full days of events.
I've never heard
successful
because I thought it was a failure. Absolute. And the reason why I say that is because as soon as we get out of class, I go and say, "Hey Tanner, why didn't you show up?" Oh man, it's just like, what was in it for me? What is in it for me? Oh, dude, I found this kid that was like on his own. He made his own video of this. Look at this. Look at how much better this one kid all on his own made an after movie. Sure. Like, what am I supposed to do? I asked Tanner to come be a part of the show, but he wanted to do it on his own. So it's like, it's fun. Like, I mean, fun.
I don't pay.
And then there's the opposite spectrum.
The
opposite spectrum is I look at knives and I'm like, good job, knives. You did it. You're better than me. Like, you're better. You're in a way not better, but more experienced. I think
knives more experienced, but he comes from
dirt.
10 plus years doing it.
Dirt.
You're how old? 24?
I'm 25 now.
25? He's 31. He's been doing it since he was like 18. Since he was in high school, he was making movies, but his first movie he did when he was like 24. Like, he's been doing it. His experience is there.
I know, but
that's a weird comparison. And the Tanner thing, fucking get over that. Like, that is so stupid.
It's like,
you know how many people call in to my job on a weekly basis? Once a week. I have a call out. That's so frustrating, but you don't care.
But extreme ownership.
Accountability.
Extreme ownership.
Exactly.
I have to own the fact that I failed because I didn't have all the equipment. If I could outshow that young kid because I had the means, which wasn't there because I had to take the scruples of what you could provide and I could provide, and then scamming my family because they don't want me doing this. They don't want me doing this thing for free. Because there's no profit to be made off it now.
Right.
They don't want me to do it, so I kind of cut corners and I do white lies and I say it's going to be like this. It's not. It doesn't turn like that.
And in prison.
Then I'm like, it turns out negative for me. It doesn't get to the point at which it's like,
man, I think you need to do some mushrooms.
I don't want to do mushrooms.
I have some.
I don't want to do mushrooms. I don't want any mushrooms.
We don't have to do them now. I wouldn't do them now. I'm afraid. They've been in my closet for months. I'm so afraid. But I think that's what you need, man. You're going way too many directions. I see now. Now I see. So that what you just did is you Bob Rossed a painting for me, and it now is allowing that hard conversation. It's that conversation that about.
Look, I'm not trying to go tinfoil hat here. It's just like there's just a lot, And are we? Where are we at?
No, we're good.
We're good.
Yeah. Maybe about 10 minutes.
All right.
So I saw that I heard that you gave the breakdown of what this is. I think. Is this okay? Are you allowed to do something like this every week? I think the cutting edge should be our kind of thing. Should be like maybe something you and me do. We can do it over webcam too.
That's good.
Keep the conversations like this, like weird introspective dialogue. There's so many ways
if they want to be in the show, they gotta be in the show.
Who are the characters?
So what? The characters would be like anybody that like I've included, you know what I mean, or worked with. Those would be characters, right?
They don't need to be there.
They don't need to be. That's my point. My point is that if they desire to influence it or something like that, then they need to provide to the show. That's what I'm saying.
Why do you care about them influencing it though?
Because they can influence it negatively. It can be both ways.
Why does it matter?
Because ultimately people will see the positive and the negative. It could be beneficial, but we have to know. I have to be in control of everything. Otherwise, the show doesn't turn out to be the most successful. We don't get critically acclaimed.
Can I get there?
You know what I mean? My show is critically acclaimed, by podcast network 0, right? But it's not critically acclaimed by the Grammys.
Can I get super therapy on you? Therapeutic? Right. I don't know if that's the proper way to use it.
My grandmother's name was the Grammys, but
I was gonna say, isn't it? Is it?
I go down a bunch of rabbit holes, but
is it ironic that you need to be?
Hat stuff.
Is it ironic that you need to be in total control, but at the same time, like your primary means of life is not in your control?
No, but that was my point. Is that
like why do you feel it even necessary to bring up?
Because I'm not
the influencers.
I'm not happy.
Okay.
And Tinder ain't making me happy. None of this is making me happy. Drugs and alcohol weren't making me happy. These kind of make me happy.
I hope that you're not.
These kind of make me happy, but I can't get them everywhere.
I hope we're not calling this the cutting edge because you're going to go home and cut yourself.
Oh, no. It's the cutting edge is like...
that was a joke. Please don't cut yourself, though. If you need help,
it's pretty rough.
There's a suicide hotline.
It's pretty rough.
Logic talks about it. I don't know the number, but 1-877 something. 1, don't kill yourself is the number. No, I'm just kidding. I'll stop talking about killing yourself.
I thought about it. I checked myself into a hospital.
Don't. When?
Because I was doing the drugs and alcohol and doing pills and.
How long? I mean, that was long ago. That was a long time ago. But I think I know about this. 2 months ago?
Yeah, during Christmas.
What?
Yeah, dude. I tried to kill myself while I was living with Tyler. It was that bad, man. He would not listen.
You dropped this on me.
He would not listen.
An hour and a half.
He would not listen. He thought he was dominant. His ego was so high. He wanted management.
What'd you do?
He wanted someone took pills and drank a lot.
Was it intentionally to not wake up, or was it? And I don't mean to sound condescending. I'm not trying to be. Was it to or were you just so overwhelmed that was your way of coping?
I wanted out. I didn't know where it was.
You fucking move. I mean, I get it, but I mean, want out.
I want out of both things.
Your situation now is a situation.
Maybe family friendly is the out. I want out. I want out of the deal. I want out. Done. Done. I want control. I need to help people. And the people that are family, negative friends, people who are not out for my best interests, they're not going to help me help people.
How can you help people?
Stop trying to kill myself. Stop trying to kill myself. Driving a car that's 1,000.
We're not laughing at that. We're not laughing at you trying to kill yourself. I'm laughing at the fact that that's your response when I ask, how can you help people? Obviously, don't kill yourself because people love you.
I am kind of in the extremes in some points.
I know, but
if I don't exist, I can't help people.
Right. You know what I mean? And you want to help people.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you want to do? How do you want to help people? What can you do to help people?
Jobs is one thing.
Jobs, though. I mean, what's a job?
Job. Somewhere they can get money so they can afford food, water, shelter. I mean, I'd love to provide for people. Not in a romantic way or anything like that. That's great. Dan Bilzerian does it for a bunch of women. I don't think he's romantically involved with all of them.
Do you know, how can you provide food, water, and shelter?
Money.
How are you going to get the money?
If I keep running into this wall where people don't want to just give it, then I don't know. I don't know. It's they don't value my help. They don't think that I can help a lot of people. They think that I'm not capable of running a team. I'm not capable of being politically correct. I'm not doing what they want. I'm not saying the right brands. I'm not saying the right thing. You know what I mean? So it's I can't sell their product. So, Knives asked me on the episode that I was on with him.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, what can you do for me? Let's say if I wanted to get all these people together, that could potentially work for him. But it's it's not, that's great, but I need those people to work for me. I need them to work for you and me, but you are you, and you can only do one thing. I can only do one thing, and if I have to allocate all these assets to this guy over here, where's my assets? So I get it that he's in this. I am my own boss.
Mm-hmm.
He has somebody that is funding his dream, Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm
but he's working for that though. But he's he works for that. He works his ass off. Knives.
it is, and I'm not trying to degrade it or anything like that. That's not my point. My point is that he's under a label. I'm not under a label. I am my own label.
But what
so
is
my
that?
mom saying that, oh, you don't talk to anybody famous. Well, because I'm my own label. I am the top of me. There's not a Gary V above me or a Dan Bilzerian. I'm me. This is the highest you can get of a person like me. They're the Dakota Meyers, the Aubrey Marcuses, these ladders that Knives is going up is different. You know, it's different. I'm not getting any money from them. I'm not another Gary V. I'm not another Aubrey Marcus because I'm not getting any money from them. I am another my parents. I'm another my grandmother. I'm another one of those.
You're not getting money from who?
Aubrey Marcus or Gary V.
Well, yeah, but they all got money from someone too.
You're not getting. They're the top of them, but they're paying people to be them. Okay. I'm not getting paid to be anybody.
I mean,
nobody's paying me to do their work for them. I
mean, I feel like people would if you looked in different places, but no.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you reach out to them, it's like you send them 3 messages. This comes down to this relationship shit.
Interpersonal relationship is very important, my friend. Being able to communicate, interpersonal communication, being able to, I don't mean communicate in like the way that we talk about communication normally, but being able to like establish
people aren't willing to get it over. If you want to be a boss, you got to be the boss.
Weird flex, but all right.
Like,
and the reason I say that is, what is that? Okay, apply that to yourself. What does that mean? What does that mean to Trent?
No, I don't work for anyone. There's no one above me, pays my salary. It was at one point.
Would you like it if there was?
One point,
you want someone above you?
No.
Okay.
Because
so you want to be completely self-made.
I think that maybe like you get.
Can I give you an example?
You get to a point where maybe you partner with like, we kind of partner in business.
Can I share an example?
You might partner with someone romantically, and then that kind of changes
the
dynamic. That's why Elon Musk got a divorce. That's why Jeff Bezos is in this issue with his wife now. They want out.
Listen, I apologize. That was disgusting. Franzilla. His first name is spacing you right now. His last name is Franzak. Chris, I believe, is his first name.
Fighter.
Negative. He is a frontman for the band Attila. He's also in Bones Crew, which is like a hip hop metal thing.
Okay.
He is known as the metalcore millionaire because not many people in the metalcore industry are millionaires, let alone self-made millionaires, and he is. He lives by the fact that a millionaire has 7 sources of income. Like, that's his thing. That's his mantra. He's a very hard worker.
Okay.
His band's successful.
Yeah.
His band is successful probably as a byproduct of, and I take that back. As the band began to get popularity, it came out that he was on the makeover show on MTV when when the kids would like have like makeovers, and they used to like, they would be like fat or whatever, and they got like a wardrobe makeover style change. I forget what it was called, but
Gents?
No, it was before that.
I don't remember.
He's like my age, and it was when he was 16. Anyways, he was on that. He like submitted a thing, and one of the things is he was in a garage band, and that garage band ended up being the band that got signed and got famous, Attila. And he used to be like some fat chubby kid, and then like he got made over, and they like cut his hair, and like they did a bunch of stuff, and then he became like a fucking metal dude, right? And so like that like came around, and then he became popular because of that, and people would like bring it up in interviews and like, oh hey, you were on that show, and he was like, well yeah, I saw an opportunity to kind of like get on a show, like whatever, got on it. And like through that he kind of just opened up other avenues from what it seems like, right? He just kind of kept go and opening up those next couple of doors. Now, not all of those doors have been successful by any means, but he has had a couple very, very successful ones. A clothing line called Stasic Clothing. He fronts this band Attila. He has a fragrance line. He was involved in like a record label for a while. He just kind of did his own thing.
Yeah.
He's Franz. Franzilla is his name. He's a character. He's a personality. He is what I would call the definition of self-made. He saw opportunities and he took them. And now he's been able to establish himself as a brand. He's Franzilla. He's the metalcore millionaire, and that's what people follow him for. He says crazy shit. He's motivational. He's also got tattoos over his neck. He hangs out with his kids. One of his kids' name is Blaze because he's a fucking pothead and he smokes weed all the time. That's his lifestyle, and he fucking films him and his kids all the time. That to me is the definition of being like self-made.
Yeah. There
is a level of self-made individuals that do make it, and there's all these Aubrey Marcuses or whoever that maybe got some help along the way and still in their own right are brilliant and smart and talented and doing their thing. They just got opportunity, right?
But they stayed under an umbrella. See, it's not like that guy
is not under an umbrella. It doesn't mean Franzilla is not exactly, but like to that degree, he was under other umbrellas.
Well, maybe he
being in the
signed to
band,
a label.
he was signed to a label. I'm sure that there was business partnerships. It's to start the clothing line, the fragrance thing. He may sign it on with somebody, whatever it may be. There's becoming self-made and being able to then transition into being your own boss. I think there's always going to be a starting point though, where you have to have a boss. You have to have there's nothing wrong with taking a job as like a part of a crew and then getting some money and then, hey, I'm going to use this money to make my first film. Then you're your own boss for a while. But you had to maybe be under somebody to acquire the resources before you could do that. I think that's maybe a role that you're playing right now, being at home and falling under these guises. But you like the idea of being your own boss, like financially, and being able to support other people too in that process, because that is something you want to do. But you kind of have like this roof that you're physically hitting, and it's a roof that you're living in, and it's built by like whoever, your family, whatever it may be, whatever like roadblocks you're getting, like. What do you think is like stopping you from being like that or taking that next crate? Like what if Trent could plan it out? What would you do? Would you do like a small independent film? Would you try to assemble a crew and make a movie to try to turn around and make a profit? Would you like become a part of a crew? Anything? I find myself kind of struggling with stuff like that too. Like I feel that
I think I have to do it all on my own.
That's a tough task.
People don't listen. They don't listen. They just literally have to listen. And I'm listening, and I just don't think it's right. I don't think that.
I think you need to make this documentary.
I don't think you're wrong.
No,
I think that I don't think that Knives is wrong. I do. This is where you're gonna be baiting. Okay, I'll say it. I don't think Dakota Meyer's right. I don't like him. I don't like him at all. I don't like that guy and how he talks about a lot of these people who are super uber successful, even though he particularly can't speak to the facts, and that he built his whole foundation on people being somebody for somebody else.
Trigger. Trent is trigger.
I'm just saying, and I just don't think that's the mindset Knives has.
No, I mean,
so I'm like, whoa, Knives. What are you doing? You're selling a product that is garbage. It's garbage.
Hey, back up off the mic a little
bit. It's garbage. It's garbage.
What are you talking about?
Dakota. He's a product. He's a brand, but he falls under this Jocko. He falls under this brackets, right? He's still part of that team, band, the band that broke up because they failed. Yeah, Jocko. Yeah, they failed at achieving their objective. That they're like, they talk about this on their audiobooks and their podcasts. They failed, but they're trying to teach people about how not to fail. Right. They failed.
Well, yeah.
So they need to teach people how not to fail, and the next special forces, and the next up and coming people.
Right.
But they don't talk about the behind the scenes. They talk about being in front of the scenes. They talk about, oh, I was a mighty Navy SEAL, but they don't talk about the people who actually make it so that the Navy SEALs can exist. Like they talk about this band of brothers that is this small.
I mean, because nobody cares about that.
See, it's a product. It's this.
Well, yeah.
It's the same shit my mother's saying. The things that are important, don't talk about them. But if it sells, talk about that. I mean, if it's Coca-Cola, talk about that. But don't talk about mom and pop Pepsi over there. You know what I mean? That mom and pop Pepsi, even though it tastes great and it's important because it's got less sugar additives. It's not this garbage that's going to destroy you, cause cancer. It's none of that. But don't talk about that. It doesn't sell. It's not fancy.
That concludes part 2. Cutting
Ghost.
I don't know how else.
Ghost.
I feel like we got to pick up.
We got to have Ghost.
We got to have a part 3. I think this is going to be something that we're going to continue to do.
But somebody has to be made an example of. And if it's if it's the people who are in power now that need to be made an example of.
An example of in what way?
That they're failing. That they're failing the country, and that we're about to go into the greatest depression of all time because they're selling this fabrication, this lie.
Of what? What's fabrication? What's the lie?
That everything's being bailed out. Everything's being bailed out. Constant bailout. Constant bailout. Constant bailout. Pyramid or not multi-level marketing scheme. Okay, let me make sure that I talk about Aubrey Marcus in this podcast. Let me make sure I talk about Joe Rogan in this podcast. Let me make sure that I talk about On It. Let me make sure I talk about all these things. Multi-level marketing.
The cycle of like clicks and the algorithms, how you're placed in.
Yeah.
All right. I'm glad that you at least were able to tie that to the social media spectrum of what we were talking about, because I was about to say.
Unfortunate though. Because I just want to say Trent Knox all the time.
And you
see how that goes with Bryan Kern
because
I fuck with Bryan Kern.
And I fucks with Trent Knox. Part 3 coming next week, maybe over webcam, maybe in person. We'll figure it out. I'm Bryan Kern of Bryan of Death on my social media. That's where you can find me. This is going to come out not only on Common Chaos, but also on
Trent Knox.
On the Trent Knox. Is it just the Trent Knox?
It's like it's weird. We're
figuring that out.
I mean it's weird the way that I put things out. Yeah. Trent Knox.
Trent Knox.
I don't know if that's the show, if that's
the life and times of Trent Knox, and this is going to be a part of it. I may actually leave this exclusive up to Facebook just to see how that kind of triggers, because I'm working with a couple of different things right now. So, Facebook, you want this? It's going to be up on Facebook, Common Chaos page.
I'm only putting 25 cents in the swear jar, not full $1, because the F word's pretty high.
Have you said fuck a lot? You haven't said much. You've been very PC. Time. He's been very PC. Not
generally. I think I opened up some of your podcasts with
maybe
a couple F's.
At The Common Chaos.
A couple of F's and a couple of U's.
TheCommonChaos.net. Picking back up with fan questions and comments. So I've been getting a lot of.
You can also go to TrentKnox.com.
TrentKnox.com.
CommonChaos.net.
CommonChaos.net. I've been getting a lot of questions about merch. Questions about merchandise. I'm going to have 2 new designs coming up. And I believe I only have the
How can you get it?
Blood and Ink. I don't have them yet.
How can you get any type of merch?
The CommonCast.net.
You gotta buy it on there?
Yeah.
You have your own Shopify or something?
It's through Squarespace.
Squarespace?
Yep. Not a plug either for Squarespace, but a plug for my website, CommonChaos.net. The Common Chaos on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Of Bryan of Death on Twitter. I'm on there. Thanks to Jack Dorsey.
Pretty much Trent Knox and every Trent Knox TV.
Trent Knox TV on everything.
Or Trent Knox, either way.
And we'll be back next week with Cutting Edge Part 3.
The
Bryan and Trent miniseries.
Talk about something else. I don't know what this one's going to be about, but whatever. See y'all later.
Bye.